Welcome. I'm David. I'm Lindsay.
And this is Desmond's Robots.
Hello and welcome to a Wednesday waffle. Power and corruption. There's been a lot of that around on this trip, or rather not a lot. Not a lot of power and plenty of corruption of power. Let's start with the first bit. You'll maybe recognise one of these. A power bank. We've had this one for a number of years. And it's suddenly started to lose its power. Charge it up, appears okay. Come to use it a little bit later on, and it's not okay. So that's where things started. This 20,000 amp power bank, great for phones and tablets and what have you. We've used this one, as I say, for years. On this trip, it's let us down. We do have another one and a couple of smaller ones, but they're not the real problem. We have had other failures. I've spoken about these. These are the batteries from my old Air 2. They're the same as the Air 2S batteries. So I had 5 batteries. I'm down to 3 because these two have gone the same way. Excuse me while I adjust my chair. They've gone the same way as the power bank. They will charge, but don't hold their charge. Now these are from my Air 2. They're a little bit, older than my other 3, but they're not that old. So possibly the coldest seen to them, because the batteries are susceptible to cold. So, what other problems have we had with batteries? Well, not so much batteries, but total loss of motorhome power. We've got a unit, we had a unit, I'm trying to get hold of it now. The EC200 Swift Group PSU 2007 STD Plus. Sounds good, doesn't it? Oh, a load of rubbish. We've had those fitted to 2 caravans and this motorhome. This motorhome, that's its second one. The other one I repaired to bits, and we managed to get hold of a replacement. I know what the problem is with it, but I can't be bothered replacing it, but I can't be bothered repairing it for it to go again. It's a design problem, and no doubt sergeants are going to be not watching this, but if they were watching this, they'd have to admit it because there's a replacement item out. We had a problem with the one with the Lunar caravan, and it went off for repair and back again and what have you. We had a problem with the same unit fitted to the Bessacar caravan, and we've had one of these go completely inoperative, and this one has gone the same way. It's nothing spectacular, it's a load of relays and a couple of stupid components which are, they're fit for their job. They do their job, don't get me wrong. One's a resettable, automatically resettable fusible link thing, and the other's a thyristor. Now the thyristor, it always bugged me why that was there, but I know why it was there. They needed a stable voltage for their pseudo digital system. A pseudo digital system which, not really digital, but it is, because what they did, they took an analog set of signals, converted them to a 1 or a 0, on or off, and transmitted that 1 or 0 via a cable to the control panel, which has got digital written all over it. Anyway, so the things that were going wrong: a thyristor, voltage regulator, and this fusible link, all kind of dependent for their working on temperature, especially the reforming fusible link. So where do they put it? In every van that we've had this unit in, and motorhome, it's been fitted directly above the boiler stroke heater system in a cupboard, right above it, so that every ounce of heat being generated is passed into this unit. So eventually either the thyristor blows, which is I think what's happened in this instance, or the fusible link wears out and blows. Both have the same effect: no power. The reason I think it's the thyristor has gone is because the output voltage of the leisure battery shown in the control unit is enough for 2 PN junctions. If you don't know what that is, it's about 6 volts, 0.6 volts, sorry, 0.3 volts, giving 0.6 volts up at the control unit. I'll get there in the end. So, what did I do to fix it? Well, I didn't. I ripped the bloody unit out. We went to the local car parts place. I bought a fuse block and I ran the wires, that the 12 volt wire, 12 volt power from the leisure batteries into the fuse block, and the switched fused power out of the fuse block to the various circuits around the van. That's where the fun started, but we'll come back to that. The parts, even here, sat on the Isle of Lewis, Isle of Harris, were less than £20. A new control unit, more than £400. Even the replacement unit, we'd have to replace, we'd have to buy the unit, the adapter, harness, and the control unit, and it comes to well over £500 for that. We've looked at it before. So there you go. So moving on, we now have power, and we're in a park up for a couple of days, and we suddenly find that the engine won't start. The repair was done before we got to this place, by the way. We'd driven to that spot, and we were there for a couple of days, and the engine won't start. Yeah, battery voltage is low. So start hunting as to why. We tried to start it with our jump starter, but of course it's been sat for so long it's flat. So we set it to go to recharge off Lindsay's power station. But because the power station was only half charged, we needed to top up the power station. So we just plugged it in. You know, it plugs in off a quick charge USB and it will charge. And we got the charger started, but in the meantime we'd called for assistance, and the guy came and started, and we just ran the engine, and then moved here to be near to where we are now, to be near Stornoway to get a battery when everything opens up again on Monday morning. Yeah, don't break down on a Saturday afternoon or Sunday on the islands. Everything's shut. So we're at this spot, and I'm starting to think about tidying up the electrics. There's certain things that are not required anymore, and I'm checking voltages and things to find that what's known as the EMC circuit. I'm not sure exactly what it stands for, and not sure not sure what the EMC, but I suppose it might be emergency something, but it's emergency something cab, I don't know. The idea is that the passenger, or a passenger, has access to light, so they can read a book or whatever while the vehicle's in motion. So they are controlled via a relay in the unit, in the 2007 unit I showed you before. You get your two powers in. Battery power goes to those sockets normally, and if power fails, that power fails for whatever reason, it falls over and uses the circuit. And the reason the power might fail, or will fail, is when you start the ignition. So, but I've got the EMC wired direct to that lighting circuit anyway, so that they're 12 volts directed through the fuse box to that, so it shouldn't be a problem, and it hasn't been a problem. Turns out it was a problem, because it all stopped working today when I had to tidy up the front. I removed 3 relays and 3 fuses, none of which are required because we're no longer using battery changeover. We've got separate lithium batteries, we've got separate charging, separate this, that and the other. I mean, I disconnected the B2B thinking this was the problem. Anyway, this is where we get back to what I said before. Voltage is down a little bit. To be expected, the battery suspect, blah blah blah. Turns out no. The EMC circuit was wired wrong. It's wired completely different to it shows in the work of fiction known as the owner's manual for this motorhome. It had nothing to do with these relays, but the act of removing those relays changed the EMC wiring, and that can only mean that the EMC was getting its voltage differently to what it said on the wiring diagram. It must have been coming direct from the main battery at all times. So the irony was, we were charging a device to jump start the vehicle at the same time as using the vehicle battery to charge said jump starter. Crazy. Anyway, I've been at it again. I've taken EMC out of the equation altogether because the 12 volt in the back of the van doesn't switch off anyway now. So what I've done is rewire that, take out the old EMC wiring whatsoever, and it is now wired, and we've got lights, charging, etc. back at the front of the van, which we'd gone when I removed these relays, which had absolutely nothing. It was the step relay. We don't have an electric step anymore. It was the 12 volt fridge relay. We don't have a 12 volt type fridge. We have a 12 volt compressor, but we don't have the old 3-way anymore. And it was the split charge relay, and we haven't used the split charge for. So how power was going through any of those to the EMC, I don't know, because the EMC is all supposed to be in that 2007 box. So there you go. Oh, what else has gone wrong? Me. The step. Yeah, we've got to get outside at some point and redo the step, and the other things that are going wrong are out with our control. By the time you see this on Wednesday, I'm recording it on Sunday, we'll have been to Stornoway to get a battery. We'll have been to Stornoway to check on the LPG situation and possibly top off if there is any, because there's no LPG on the island currently. The system has broken down. And of course the other thing is the ferries. Are we going to be able to get off the island? No bad thing perhaps, as long as we've got LPG. But yeah, it's crazy. I have no plan other than waking up Monday morning and going to see about a battery. Whether we buy a battery and I fit it, or we get somebody else to fit it, I don't know. But one way or the other, that's the only plan I have in mind for the moment. Now, I may owe the guy who owned this motorhome prior to us an apology. I may have got him wrong. This isn't for his 240 mess up, that was a lash up. But for his 12 volts machinations, perhaps he's not to blame. Perhaps he believed what was in the work of fiction known as the owner's handbook, the owner's service book. It's incredible. Even if I'm looking at the wrong diagram, there are 3 diagrams: E400, E700 and E7 with fridge freezer. Now we should be the E700 because ours was a fridge with our freezer. The fridge freezer refers to the model with the separate fridge and separate freezer. But anyway, using any one of those diagrams, the 12-volt wiring I have come across in the last couple of 3 days bears no relation to what exists in the van. The biggest problem's out now, and in fact, so far, one of the things that used to bug us, and we always used to switch the pump off at night, was the pump would run as the system depressurized. The heater cooled down, so it needed a bit to up the pressure, and so the taps would run. It's a pressure-based system. I haven't heard it run except when we've opened up a tap since the modification. So will I put a switch in? No. But when I can get hold of one, I think we'll fit a battery isolator. And we'll see how it goes on a pump isolator. But a battery isolator, power isolator, is kind of a must. To do it now, I'd have to go under and pull a fuse. So a switch will get fitted between the new fuse box and the power. And that's it. Anyway, that's my waffle for the week. Who knows when the next time will be a waffle. When you see this, it'll be Wednesday. One way or another we'll be sorted. We'll have a new battery, we'll have LPG, and we may or may not be still on the islands. For updates on that, Instagram, Facebook and Threads. No longer on X. Bye for now.
And remember, while in the countryside, indeed anywhere, take nothing but memories and leave nothing but tracks. Please subscribe and click that notification bell to receive notifications of all our videos.